What we're going to be talking about here today is how to raise the 5 easy steps to raise unlimited private money for your real estate deals. What's a private lender? Who's a private lender? I'm not talking hard money here. A private lender is an individual, a human being that loans you money from their investment capital or their retirement account in the example that I just gave. So, private lending is simply a one-on-one transaction with no middle person. I'm not talking hard money. I'm not talking hard money brokers. By the way, I say establish relationships with as many people as you can. Some of mine and Carol Joy's best friends are hard money lenders. They use my techniques to raise money for their funds. So establish as many relationships as you can. But in this world of private money, you get to make the rules. You're already approved. There's no application. There's no credit check. There's no limit to the amount of private money you can have. I'll get into those benefits here in just a second. So in this world of private lending, it's simply a one-on-one transaction with no middle person involved. So a private lender is not a joint venture partner. We're not sharing in the equity. The private lender is the bank. The private lender is the bank. So we're not talking hard money here. We're not talking about any kind of institutional money. Now, what does this private money work for? Well, it works for single family homes. It works for commercial properties. Private money works for any kind of real estate, self-storage, multifamily, apartments, land. But in the context of this presentation, we're focusing on single family homes, which is, of course, as a DealMachine family member, that's what you're focusing on as well as single family homes. That's why I'm talking about private money in this context. When are you going to use private money? Obviously, you don't need private money if you're wholesaling a deal and you're not staying in the deal. You don't need to use private money if you're buying creatively, subject to the existing note or with seller financing. However, I've discovered over all these years only 13% of for sale by owners will actually sell to me creatively. So you're going to use private money when all cash is required by the seller, such as bank-owned property, short sales, auctions, and as I just said, FSBOs, for sale by owners, and that's what you're doing with DealMachine here. You're looking at all these for sale by owners on DealMachine. I've discovered that 87% will not sell to me creatively. And if I want to stay in the deal, guess what? Got to have all the cash. Now, we got a lot of reasons here as to why we like private money, but why would a private lender be interested in investing in our deals and loaning us money? Well, here's 4 big reasons as to why private lenders are dying to do business with you and chasing you. First of all, their investment with you, their principal loan amount is secure and it is safe. It's secure because we're not borrowing unsecured money. We're backing it by deed of trust or a mortgage. And it's safe because of a conservative loan to value. We're not going to borrow more than 75% of the after repaired value. Don't miss that. I didn't say 75% of the purchase price. I said we're not going to borrow more than 75% of the after repaired value. That's why you're able to bring home a big check every time you buy. Secondly, they are able to earn a lot more money than they can by putting the money in a certificate of deposit at the local bank. And with interest-only payments, that makes them more money if you're making payments. We don't make principal and interest payments. We either make interest only or let the interest accrue. That's a win for them. They make more money. That's a win for you because that helps you cash flow. And there's a way in the private lending program that you're going to offer your private lenders a way they can get their principal back in case of an emergency early. That's called the 90-day call option, and you'll put that in the promissory note. Now, what comes first, as I said, I want you to concentrate, if you're wanting to stay in deals, on getting the money lined up. If you're wanting to stay in deals and do some deals yourself and make those big profits instead of a $20,000 assignment fee, if you're wanting to make the $86,000 and $100,000 profits, then guess what? Imagine how many more offers you're going to make if you've got $500,000 or more burning a hole in your pocket, ready for you to make an offer that you're going to stay in the deal. So where to get the money? Well, There's money all around you, private money in your warm market, private money with existing private lenders. I'm going to focus right now on the 5 easy steps on how to get private money to fund your deals that you want to stay in from your own warm market. Those are your own connections. But let's talk about each of these 5 easy steps on how to attract private money without ever having to ask for money. So here's step number 1, make your list. And I tell you, you got millions of dollars in your contact list, in your cell phone, email list, social media, LinkedIn. The money's all around you. All you got to know how to do is to attract it. So you make your list, right? And then once you've got your list made, and as I said, I'll help you make your list. I'm going to show you how that works. So once you've got your list made up, then step number 2 is you're going to have a simple opening conversation with the people that you've got on your list. So there's 2 different types of conversation. There's what we call the direct method, and then there's what's called the indirect method. The direct method uses what's called the magic question. So this is a direct question that you would ask people once you're visiting with them. I want you to write down the magic question. I'm going to give it to you right now. I want you to write it down. The magic question is, quote unquote, do you have investment capital or retirement funds not giving you a high rate of returns safely and securely? Let me repeat that. Quote unquote, do you have investment capital or retirement funds not giving you a high rate of return safely and securely? Now, obviously, you're not going to start out a conversation asking that question. You're going to have some conversation. You may be having coffee with a friend. You're out to lunch, etc. And then, you could start the conversation by saying, by the way, what are you investing in these days? And have a little, see if they're investing. Or, I love did you know questions. You could say, hey, did you know there's a way that people can earn unlimited money tax-free per year? Well, they're not going to know the answer to that question. Well, that certainly leads to talking about self-directed IRAs. So that's the direct question. Now, if they answer yes to, yes, I have investment capital or retirement funds that I'm not happy with the returns, then that would take you to step number 3 that I'm going to show you in just a moment. But then there's the indirect method, which I absolutely love, the indirect method conversation. And the indirect method works this way. The indirect method uses a phrase that I have right here that's called, I need your help. So let me share a short story with you as to how this indirect method got me $500,000 in private money in less than 24 hours. So this goes back to 2009 when I was cut off from the banks. And so I learned about private money. I put my program together that I was going to teach people in my own connections. And so this short story shows you how to use this phrase that got me $500,000. This was on a Wednesday night at Bible study at the Morehead City Church of Christ. And I was looking for a gentleman by the name of Wayne. I walked up to Wayne and I said, Wayne, I got something I'd like to visit with you confidentially after Bible study. Can we get together for a few minutes? He said, well, sure. So we got together after Bible study and I looked at Wayne and here's exactly what I said to him. I said, Wayne, you know everybody in this town. And he did. And I said, Wayne, I need your help. There's the phrase. And then I said, this is the script. This is exactly what I said to Wayne. I said, I've now opened up my real estate investing business by referral only, and I am paying insane high rates of return to my investors. And I said, Wayne, when you run across somebody that is complaining about the stock market or losing money in the stock market or the volatility of the stock market or complaining about the low interest rates that they're getting in the local bank, would you refer them to me so I can share with them about my program and how they can get high rates of return safely and securely? Well, Wayne looked at me and he says, well, now, Brother Jay, what you got going on there? I said, well, are you saying that you might be interested? He said, well, I might be interested. I said, well, why is that? He says, well, we're not making much money in the local bank and we're losing money in the stock market. Bear in mind, this was 2009. He said, what kind of rate are you paying? And I said, well, Wayne, that sort of depends on the deal. I said, what sounds high to you? He said, well, I'm only earning 3% in the local bank. He said, I don't know, maybe 5% or 6%. I said, Wayne, I can't pay you 5 or 6%, but I can pay you 8%. He said, put me down for $250,000. So the next day, I went to his and his wife's home, and I sat down with them and I shared with them. I had on my teacher hat. I shared with them. Bear in mind, I'm not bringing up any kind of deal. I'm not pitching deals. I just shared with them this opportunity as to how they could get involved and earn high rates of return safely and securely. So I shared the program with them. What's the interest rate I pay? How they can get back their money back in case of an emergency? What's the length of the note? Maximum loan to value of the after repaired value, etc. And after 2 cups of coffee, that $250,000 became $500,000 that they wanted to invest. So that's an overview of those 2 easy scripts, conversations to have with people. So that's step number 2. Now, step number 3 is how we use the 16-minute audio stress-free investing audio. So if someone's interested, you see, we don't run around and chase and beg and persuade and try to chase the money. You do this business with the money chasing you, right? So you use this audio to educate, but it doesn't spill the beans and tell the people that you send this audio to what the interest rate is. It just introduces private money to them, and now it causes them to get back in touch with you. So once they've listened to this audio, now that comes to spilling the beans. This is the one-on-one appointment. You can do it in person. You can do it over Zoom. And this is where just use my PowerPoint presentation. It seems to work pretty good. You just share with them the program and you teach them what private money is, the interest rate, how they can get their money back, and etc. Once you teach them the program, they're going to tell you how much money that they've got invested and how much they want you to put to work. So how can you get the word out using this PowerPoint? Well, it can be one-on-one, it can be virtually, it can be in groups. And look, private lender luncheons. I have raised $969,000 at just one private lender luncheon by inviting 20 people to lunch and paying for their lunch and then showing them this PowerPoint. And now they can't wait. They're telling me how much money they got to invest. And then I'm going to put their money to work for them just as soon as possible, right? Now, step number 5, write this down. Step number 5 is what we call a verbal pledge or commitment. They simply tell you how much money they got to work with. Is it investment capital or is it retirement funds? Well, if it's retirement funds, then you're going to want to introduce them to the relationship you have with a self-directed IRA company to where they can move those funds over. Listen, this is very important. Over half of our private lenders are using their retirement funds, so you definitely want to have a relationship established. So they tell you how much money they got to work with, and now you want to put their money to work just as soon as possible. And so what should you concentrate first? Get your priorities straight first if you're wanting to use private money. Well, get your head right. There's no selling, there's no begging, there's no chasing. You simply want to share and be a teacher. Not one of our 47 private lenders ever heard of private money or self-directed IRAs until we exposed them to it. Here's a writer-downer. Here's a writer-downer right here. Establish an action item. Establish a relationship with a self-directed IRA representative so that when you're talking with somebody that's got retirement funds, you can then refer them, they can get their money moved over, and then fund your deals. Know your program. And hey, what is your program? It's my program. Just duplicate my program. It seems to work pretty good. Never talk about your program, your opportunity, and a deal in the initial conversation. Because remember, desperation has got a smell to it. Now, here are the documents that you'll have on every private lender deal that you close. Of course, you're going to know the value of the property or you wouldn't be making an offer. And then you got the promissory note that lays out the terms. You got a deed of trust or mortgage that collateralizes the note. You got the insurance policy. You're going to name the private lender as a mortgagee. And then you got the title policy, naming them as an additional insured. So you've got multiple layers of protection for your private lenders.
Thanks for listening to the DealMachine Real Estate Investing Podcast. Please leave us a review and follow along wherever you're listening to your podcast.